The mechanism of digression, how you digress from the point that you're trying to make into something kind of related but yet unrelated, hence diluting your speech. So what happens is, you start with a chain of thought, which may not be completely charted out to the end, and to the moral of the story, so to say, when you start out, but you have a fair idea of, the start. And somewhere in the middle, the chain of thought is broken, and as you are speaking, that chain of thought is broken, and you suddenly realize that you've forgotten what that chain of thought was. And so now you have got two options. Now, whether you pause and sort of try to recollect that chain of thought and make sure that it continues in the right direction towards the point that you're trying to make, or you know you just speak the next thing that comes to your mind, and what that does is, creates another chain of thought, which which may be related and which may be close, but which still leads to a different point. So when you're trying to make a point, it's like, you start with something, and you are trying to get to that thought, that thought, let's think of it like a dot, that like a very small dot. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to pierce through it with your arrow. Only thing is, your arrow is not big enough. So what you're doing is you're creating chains. You're creating chain with thoughts, so one thought after the another, leading up to a point where you're close enough to that point to straight, add the arrow at the end of the chain and pierce through that point. And if you do it right, if you continue the straight chain of thoughts, then you will lead to that point, and you will pierce it, and you will end up making an effective point. But what happens is, when you are speaking, you add thought and you add thought and you add thought, and suddenly you realize, at one point, that you have lost that chain. And you don't know what the next link is in this straight line. So what you do instead is, now there you have two options: whether you stop and try to recollect what is the next right link in this direction, or you take whatever link that comes into your mind first, in whatever direction it might be, and you continue speaking. And what that will do is that will start creating another chain in another direction from there on. And so when you get to the end of that chain, you will see that you are far away from that initial dot, that point that you were trying to make, and you have reached another point which is very different. What this does is, now you started out trying to make one point, and then just in the pressure of continuously speaking, you digressed into a little bit, into a direction which was a little different. And by the end of it, you have ended up somewhere which is far from the initial point that you were trying to make, and you have ended up somewhere which you did not intend to come to from the beginning. So now, if the audience that is listening tries to make sense of it, so they see that you began with a different on a different track, and sort of then you ended up continuing and reaching an entirely different track, and now they are not able to make any sense of what is it that you're really trying to say. So the antidote to that would be to continue following the right track, and when you have missed it, or then you go back and take it from where it was left, or you wait. If you have not taken the wrong direction yet, then what you do is you pause, you wait, you recollect your thoughts, and you make sure that you follow the right track and build the right chain up until that point that you're trying to make. And when you reach it, you straight on pierce it, and that's how you make a fucking point.